Why are egg prices so high? Give me the rundown.
Well, the egg prices are high because in the last 24 months, the U.S. has killed 166 million chickens. Most of them have been egg layers. There have been a few meat chickens and a few turkeys, but basically it's been egg layers in the last 24 months. Maybe 1 million of them have been sick. The great majority of them have not been sick. And we don't even know if they were sick and got better, or if their immune system was better and they just didn't get sick, or if they would have eventually gotten sick. We don't even ask those kind of questions because our policy is a stamp out policy. If there's one chicken in a flock, every chicken dies, even the survivors. And there's not been a single flock in the world that has had a 100% sickness rate. Even the worst flocks have only gone to 90%. So 10% have been survivors. As a person, as a farmer, and somebody who cares about whatever genetic adaptation, the worst thing you ever want to do when you have a sickness is kill the survivors. You want to breed them so that you eventually get better immunological function.
So we've done reporting on this. Obviously, I think it was on the front page of our national edition last week, and the response was, that there's a regret in doing the culling, but there just isn't a better policy. I mean, that's what we've heard.
So there are numerous alternatives surfacing. Hypochlorous is one. CDS is one. There are some homeopathic remedies, but the USDA refuses to study any of these because they're completely beholden to the pharmaceutical companies. And this whole thing has made me question just how much power do the pharmaceutical companies have when there are efficacious alternatives that can't even see the light of day.
Maybe just start by explaining what these alternatives are. Well,
these are antimicrobials, antivirals. They're used primarily in slaughterhouses for, if you're organic certified and you don't want to use chlorine and real, toxic antimicrobials. These have become darlings in that. This stuff, you can drink it. I mean, we're back to a very similar narrative as COVID. When ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine were demonized, and we're seeing the same thing with this bird flu. There are other things, and interestingly, virtually all the medical doctors who were censored and deplatformed, who dared to question Dr. Fauci during COVID, are all in agreement. As far as I know, everyone I've seen, they're all in agreement that we shouldn't be killing the survivors. We should be cultivating those and breeding those. There's a kind of a bird flu working group that's been convened in kind of high levels, and I'm part of that working group. And one of the things that I've brought to that group is not only let's not kill the survivors, which everybody's pretty much in agreement on, but the other thing is to allow the owner of the chickens to determine the remedy. Right now, if government agents discover bird flu on your premises, even one chicken among 100,000, all the birds are, they kind of go out of your hands. And in fact, in our regulatory environment, they talk about my chickens being part of the national flock, or my cows being part of the national herd. This is new terminology in the last 20 years that now permeates our government documents, as opposed to the farmer's chickens, the farmer's cows, or the rancher's cows. Now we have this kind of collectivist socialistic lingo permeating the documents. And so what I've suggested is, how about we allow the owner of the chicken to determine the remedy. Okay, all right, so I've got a bird or birds with bird flu. Maybe I want to ride it out, because a lot of flocks, there's one or two, but then it doesn't go any farther. It just doesn't go.
So there are examples of that.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And
where I hadn't heard of that. So,
Well, there's everything from from 5% to 90%. So maybe I want to ride it out. I'll take the risk, and you don't have to pay me for the dead birds. I'll take the response. I'll take the loss. Maybe I want to try one of these other kind of alternative antimicrobial, antiviral. You put them in the drinking water. Okay. Maybe I want to try that. Maybe I want to do a homeopathic remedy, something else. But let the owner of the chicken determine what to do. There is zero efficacy for this mass slaughter of the healthy birds. There is zero efficacy. Here's the thing. Dr. Zach Bush talks about this a lot. All beings in nature, from viruses to microbes to chickens to humans, all beings in trees, all beings in nature are adapting. I mean, we're not machines. We're not, a car doesn't adapt. Hot day, cold day, flu, thunderstorm, car doesn't adapt. It just, it's a hunk of metal that sits there. Whereas living things do adapt. We know that from epigenetics and DNA. We know that we adapt. And that's why, Eskimos can handle so much colder than a person in the tropics. They go to the Eskimos and freeze to death, and the Eskimos come to the tropics, to the equator, and are hot. So we do adapt, and nature adapts. And so this idea of killing all the surviving birds, it deprives our chickens of being able to adapt to the virus. In other words, the virus is trying to get stronger. It's a predator, it wants to kill, let's say. And the chicken, well, it wants to survive. And so you have this tension. This is the way all things are. You have these tensions, and both of them are trying to adapt. If we kill the surviving chickens, we've now deprived our poultry from their genetic adaptivity to the virus. So all we hear all the time from the industry is, well, the virus is mutating. Oh, it's a mutating virus. Well, chickens mutate too. So allowing nature to adapt and be malleable like it is, to me, makes a lot more sense in letting the dynamic order and the spontaneity of adaptation of living beings to express itself.
Why do they call you a lunatic?
Well, I took on that mantra years and years ago because I was getting so much heat from the conventional agriculture system. We use compost, not chemicals. We don't vaccinate. We don't medicate. We move the animals around. They get salad bar. They have an immune system. And so I was getting so much heat from the conventional system. I was called a bioterrorist. I've been called Typhoid Mary, a starvation advocate, because we all know that if we quit using chemicals, half of us would die. There wouldn't be enough food. And so after one particularly aggressive phone call, I hung up. I remember I was sitting there and I said, well, I can either be depressed and frustrated about this, or, hey, let's have fun with it. Let's embrace it. Sure, I'm a lunatic. Let's have fun with it. And I just grabbed that mantra, and it stuck. And now I realize that was a stroke of genius, because if you Google lunatic farmer, there is not another lunatic farmer on the planet. It's pretty cool to come up with a moniker that nobody else uses and nobody else has ever come up with. So so I have fun with it. Of course I'm a lunatic, and it allows you to enjoy the tension rather than feel angry, vengeful, or upset about it.
As you're discussing this, I can't help but think of your book, Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. Right. It sounds like this, when you were in the throes of this, you got your moniker, right?
Yeah. That is also lunacy. If you think about the Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins' recent 5-point plan to deal with bird flu, one of those points is to completely shut down or restrict visitors on farms. Well, we believe very strongly that people should be able to go visit their food. I mean, look, if you've got to put on a hazmat suit and walk through sheep dip to go visit your food, you might not want to eat it. And so we have a very open door policy. We want city people to come and see how we raise chickens, how we do pigs, how we do cows. So this kind of new aggressive position that nobody can come and visit a farm and every vehicle has to be sprayed off with disinfectant going in and sprayed off with disinfectant going out, and this is quite discomforting to a place like ours that has built our brand and our reputation on transparency. I mean, if there's one thing we need in our food and farm sector and our agriculture, it's not more opaqueness and hiding behind spray trucks and antimicrobials. It's transparency, letting people come and see, how chickens are raised and see what's going on. I would suggest that if we had more transparency, maybe we'd have better farming.
So one of our staff is a big fan of the Jeremy Clarkson show. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned to me actually that she, he's been inspired by you apparently. And just to tell me a bit about your relationship.
Well, I've been at this a long time, and I'm just grateful and blown away by the number of people I run into now around the world who have read my. I mean, I've written 16 books. Number 17 is coming out this year. And I've been doing this a long time. I mean, my first little pastured poultry manual came out in 1991. It's hard to believe that it's been way over 30 years since that first manual came out on how to have a small-scale, profitable pastured meat chicken enterprise, broilers. I travel the world and speak at conferences. The tribe, if I may use the term, the tribe that is in this space. And when I say this space, I mean the space that says, let's not use chemicals, let's not use pharmaceuticals, let's raise animals and plants in a more natural order. That group of people is fairly small. It's a small tribe, and so what happens when you start down that path? You run into people, the same kind of people. And so I know that my writing and my columns and my speaking have gone far beyond what I could imagine. And I'm just thrilled. I have just so many testimonial letters. I was able to quit my town job and come back to the farm full time thanks to your teaching, your models, and that's really gratifying. Yeah.